Hey y'all, it's your girl Dayna Patreace, aka the Black Fairy, and welcome to my channel Black Fairy Tings, where we talk about becoming our best selves as women through deconstruction of patriarchy and deconstruction of religion. Today's video, I am talking about AD and Ashley. They're both contestants on Love is Blind. AD recently got engaged to another Love is Blind segment. So it was like kind of like a crossover love affair. Her fiance is Ollie from the UK Love is Blind. They met on Perfect Match. Now they're engaged. I saw today that they had a baby announcement. So that's what's going on with them. They're recording Ashley, who was a contestant, 2 years ago, and she was just torn apart by the internet due to her standing so tall and strong on Mammy Mountain for her then husband that she met on Love is Blind, named Tyler, who we affectionately call Liler. This is her first interview since everything went down. If you're not familiar with it, I'm sure if you look up Ashley Love is Blind on TikTok, here on YouTube, you will find what you need. If you are familiar, then we can continue. Now, I'm not usually calling women birds, but these girls are acting like birds. Okay? Okay, birds. But I'm going to play the introduction and we're going to get into it.
Yes. I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.
Okay, so y'all, like I said, we are about to pull up this interview with AD and Ashley. All usage that I'm using is according to the Fair Use Act that YouTube abides by. So yeah, let me add my screen to the stage. Now, there was no accountability in this at all. None. It was quite disappointing. There was a lot of deflection. It felt like she was still kind of protecting Liler, while also blaming, commentators who regularly do news on these kinds of shows, blaming them instead of taking accountability for yourself in the position that you put yourself in. Ashley, I'm talking to you. But it also gave me this peek into the Christian-minded woman, and why I kind of have come to the conclusion that Christian women cannot be allies, right? Like, Christian women cannot be allies. This video did not start off on that, but as I watched it and as I saw others' commentary on it, it kind of crept into my mind. And I made a video about it earlier on my last video, about this specific topic and why I felt this way. So I wanted to come back and do this content to try to kind of get into how this even entered my mind, how I came about this conclusion that I now have. That being said, let's get into it. I'm sharing my screen. Let me see here. I will be starting and stopping. This is commentary. I put it on 1.25 speed to kind of speed it up a little bit more. But let's get into it. Let's play. I'm going to make it a big screen here. Let's go.
Okay, welcome back to What's the Reality? I have a really, really special guest with me today. My Love is Blind sister, Ashley. We all know she's had quite the journey, and she's finally here opening up for the very first time about her truth versus the lies. So I'm happy to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Looking good.
Thank you.
I mean, looking great, should I say?
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay, I'm going to be completely honest with you. My listeners have not stopped begging. When I say begging, I mean begging to have you on this podcast because what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, like everybody's just, we want to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on. And like, to be like completely honest and transparent, we have not spoke at all.
No.
I mean, obviously some well-wished texts back and forth, but this is the first time I'm sitting face to face with you since reunion.
Yeah.
Catch me up. Let's catch me up on you. On everything that you've been up to since I last saw you.
So, well, filing for divorce now.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, same. But in the same breath, it's a good thing I've been counting the days. Yeah, I think like the last few months, it's just been a lot of healing, a lot of emotional fluctuations. I would love to say it's been sunshine and rainbows because I think sometimes when we know we're doing the right thing, you think it should be easy. It doesn't make it any easier. And so, I've just been healing, but also like I'm getting to this stage where I'm reaching the 6-month mark of this divorce. And I've been kind of taking back the power of the word divorce because anyone who knows me knows it's something I never wanted to do ever. And so I'm changing it from a negative connotation to feeling more liberated.
And I just want to say that I think that that's a part of the problem with marriage, especially the Christian woman mindset of I've never intended to never get married again. I never intended to get a divorce. But when you are, and I think a lot of women make this mistake, and we're trained to make this mistake. This is what we're trained to believe, that we're supposed to only have one love, one life to live. We only get one soulmate. We only get one chance, and we're supposed to stick it out through and through, never get divorced, despite what happens. You chose this person. You got to stand by this person, stand for this person, even if they change, even if they're not through it all. We as women are supposed to hold their hands, pray, right? Especially if you're a Christian woman, you're a praying woman. So you're supposed to pray for them and just and be the strong woman who holds that man despite his flaws, even though it's rarely reciprocated. You know what I mean? I think that's a part of the problem. I personally, if I do ever get married at this stage with what I know and what I've learned and how far I've come, not only would I have a prenuptial agreement, I do not have this idea that I have to stay with you forever. Like, not at all. Not at all. People say, oh, that's marriage. That's not even what marriage started off as. Like, that's not true. It's what it's become because commercializing it, making it about love, made it popular and made it monetary. But that's not what marriage was ever really about. And I think that if women are considering marriage to a man, they need to do it with both eyes open. I think anybody, man or woman, or man, both eyes open, both very clear. I think prenuptial agreements are a great idea, whether you're rich or not, because you never know what that person, you don't know that person, that version of that person that doesn't love you, that doesn't care for you, right? You don't know what that looks like. And when that switch happens, often women get blindsided because they expect to be handling the person that was in love with them when the person has fallen out of love with them and they're no longer there anymore. And now they're treating you like the common person, like the everyday person, like someone they don't care for, maybe even sometimes somebody they hate, right? So I really think that's one of the common flaws that we have as women when we enter these marriages, especially from a Christian standpoint with a Christian mindset. That's why I think the Christian mindset is very dangerous. I think that Christian women are a danger to the women empowerment movement. And this actually kind of nudged me over that kind of line of feeling that way about Christian women. But let's continue.
Excited for this new beginning. And, I took some time to myself before I even wanted to do a sit down because I wanted to reflect. I wanted to take time to reflect. And so, also given all of the social media vitriol, I was somewhat terrified to be vulnerable and to say anything for fear of it being picked apart and being another tagline after things have kind of calmed down. But then I was like, if I can speak so boldly for a man, I damn sure can speak up for myself. And frankly, I had to change the way I was thinking about things over the last 4 months when I was thinking about how it, or if I even wanted to say anything, because I wanted to make sure I was doing this for me and not for anyone else. So yeah, the last 4 months has been a lot of reflection. And I've come to the realization that, people can say whatever and they can have whatever misconceptions they want about me. I think that this is for me to speak to my character, and anything outside of that, I can't be bothered with.
Heard.
To be honest, the internet was really on that ass. They were really on Ashley's ass. But I don't think that it was necessarily totally unwarranted. She was, again, standing on business in a situation that she was not present for, that she had no real knowledge of. And it was the epitome of just wrong and strong. And no matter what, she stood on business. I do appreciate the growth that she says that she had. I can understand the time that she needed. That's all understandable. But yeah, they were really ripping her ass a new one, y'all. They really were. But I don't think it was completely unwarranted. Does it suck? Yes. But when you place yourself on this kind of platform, it's to be expected.
Heard. So how has it been kind of transitioning from being married in such a public facing way to now transitioning back into being single?
I will say, if I had to miss one thing about being married, which you'll know soon, longevity for you, but like I miss being a part of this like secret wives club. Like my friendships, like with women who are married, it was a little different because we had conversations that I now could understand. And so even I feel like professionally, people treat you differently slightly when you're married, you have kids. It's almost like you're an adult now. So that transition has been different. But I'm someone who thrives single. I lock in and I do all the things. Like, whether it's professionally, whether it's working out, whatever it is, I'm happy single. I found how to be comfortable in my skin, in my own presence a long time ago. So no, single life is, come on now.
It does hit a little bit different.
Well, and I feel like we always want what we're not in. Like,
here's my thing. Secret Wives Club, and you can tell me in the comments, do married women really act differently amongst each other than they do their single friends? And I mean in the sense of how you speak and uplift, and like is there really some secret code? I did see some married women being like, I don't treat my single friends any different than I treat my married friends. It's no secret wives club. Again, Ashley personifies that desperation, and so does AD, to just be married. To be married, to be the wife, it's the title, not the actual, I guess, having love. It's the title. It's again I'm in the wives club. Like, I can say I'm married. I can say I have a man. It's just so very much pick me. It's so very much pick me. I hate that for some of us. I hate that for some of us, for real.
Yeah. Even my married friends are like, girl, like, you don't have no kids. You don't have to worry about this. But then when you are single, you're like, oh, my married friends. So I think that it's kind of like we always want what we don't have. But I mean, for me, I have a good time. So
I see you in the gym, traveling, you're outside, girls' nights.
Yes. So it hasn't been that transition hasn't been that hard for me, especially because we were only married for a year.
Yeah. I think that people want you to look sad and be down, and like people hate to see you trying to grow and heal. And like, so is that weird to like post like, oh, I'm out with my girls on social media, knowing that the world is like, how come she's not down and out?
So I took a little bit of a social media break because of that. I remember I posted out with a few of my girlfriends, just like laughing, like whatever. And someone wrote me, how dare you laugh? The kids.
How dare you be happy?
And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, this is like, it's months later at this point. So I still get a little bit of that. And you just have to kind of find a balance between like, this is my life. And if I run it dictated by you all, I will literally be committed.
Yeah, literally in a dungeon somewhere.
Literally, yeah. So I had to kind of dismiss the opinions of the folk.
Right. Do you feel?
Oh my gosh, y'all. I just realized that my mic was not muted. I burped. I'm sorry if you heard that. That's gross. I would definitely mute or at least say excuse me. I mean, I apologize. But I actually agree with Ashley here in some aspect of the way that she's moving forward. It does seem that she's healed quite a bit from the situation. But again, the healing, I'm just going to keep rolling. I just realized that, and I just want to apologize to y'all for burping. I hope you didn't hear it, but if you did, my apologies. Excuse me. I thought the mic was muted.
Feel like you have like a nice support system around you? Like, have your people shown up for you?
My village.
Yeah.
My village goes crazy, girl.
Yeah.
Like my mom, my friends, they have been like my true anchors in all of this. Rather it's late night phone calls, FaceTimes at 1 a.m. because I have insomnia. So like I'll ping them if I need to unpack something. And so honestly, without them, this would have been way harder.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that, so I've been really grateful for that. Yeah.
Are you doing anything like in particular? I know you said you're like kind of working out and hanging out with some of your homegirls, but are you doing anything in particular that's like helping you get through this whole transition?
Yeah, I mean, besides falling on the floor crying out to Jesus, like God, but besides that, I started. Actually, Monica from my season got me a gratitude journal, and it's never been more impactful than it's been, the last few months. It's just part of my daily routine where I just get up and just jotting down those 3 things seems so small, but it's so big because it keeps you focused on what's truly important and that there's always something to be grateful for, even in a tornado.
Yeah.
So that has been helpful. And then the biggest thing has been they didn't push me to therapy, child. I never thought I would be in therapy, and not in a negative way. I've always been an advocate for it, but I've always been like well-adjusted, contrary to belief. My head is on my shoulders. Yeah, it's still there. Yeah, that was uncharted territory.
Please. Like this is where she kind of comes off disingenuous to me. And even like, oh, I'm so well-adjusted. If you were so well-adjusted, then I don't think someone who was well-adjusted would have put up as much as she put up with Liler. I don't think someone who's well-adjusted would jump in front of a firing machine gun for a man who wasn't being completely honest with you from the beginning. And she'll go into it, and it's funny because we're only 7 minutes in, and how many times have I stopped to interject? I'm sorry, y'all. Maybe I'm doing it too much, but there's a lot going on here. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
Territory for me, but even my therapist sometimes, which godsend for her, but like she'll just smile at me in some of our like meetings because like I am wise and I'm very self-aware, but she gives me different perspectives on things. And so the biggest thing we've been working on the last few months is forgiveness for myself, not even for him or anyone else, forgiveness for myself, because I'm just someone who like beats myself up when I make mistakes or do something out of the ordinary, and I'm like I really don't need anyone else to do it. I'm my biggest critic.
I got it.
Trust me. So therapy, I think that everyone should go, especially with like large life transitions.
I love my therapist, girl. I got therapy tomorrow, girl. I got it next week. Listen. Let's talk more LIB and just how we got here. Okay, rewind. How do you feel like the revelation of Tyler coming out with the whole children thing impacted, like in the beginning, all the way up until now, impacted your marriage?
It impacted the marriage immediately. Immediately, because now I have to question the person I'm laying next to. And I think that that's such a scary feeling to not know what's true, what's not true. And like, I remember, like I said, I have insomnia. It would be times I'm up at 2 a.m. and I would grab him like, hey, I got another question. Like, I need you to, answer this. Of course, he had all the answers at the time.
Right.
But, it kind of shifted everything about us. Like there are marital things as well that, were hardships for us, but like we got along really well. And so it was like, I no longer had that person. And even from the beginning, even when I was still trying to unpack what was true or just all of the things, it still created such a hole between us. And it's like, I was being drugged on his behalf as well. So I had this sort of resentment towards him as well in our household. So it shifted everything, and I think that, it was a time where I had a panic attack. I had 2 panic attacks, but one of the worst ones where I was like in my living room and I went to the bathroom and he saw me. It was like 3 a.m. and he just like held me and I unfolded into his arms while, trying to figure out if this man, like who he was. It was the most toxic.
Post-show airing?
Post-show airing.
Okay.
It's like it's like in the thick of it. It was in the thick of it. And so it literally shifted where we had an enjoyable home into such a toxic and just unhappy kind of situation, because he also was depressed as well. But, you know, so it changed our entire dynamic. It definitely did. We just weren't us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He is a pathological liar.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this man like, who are you? And if we don't have the two biggest things in a marriage, which are trust and honesty, then what do we have?
Okay, let's like break this down for people that might not understand this like 5-part series sperm donor situation. What we saw and what was presented to us is that Tyler was a sperm donor to the children. And then reunion, that's all we know. And then post reunion, it comes out that he was the parent to the twins.
Yes.
Tell me about this 5-part series and what is the truth?
So let's go back a little, right? So when I find out that he's a sperm donor when we're filming, the only thing that he told me on and off camera was that he was a sperm donor, zero complexity around it, right? He even went as far as to tell me like he hadn't seen them in a year or two, like that the mother of the children had him blocked because she wanted to raise her children with her, lesbian counterpart, who's now her fiance. And so all we knew, even at the reunion, was that he was a sperm donor. Case closed.
To all
three
children, yeah.
And then a little bit before the reunion aired, she came out with her 5-part video series where she was saying it was hard for her to come out about this, but now she's taking back the fact that she said they had never been intimate in any way, but that they actually had for the twins. So once she...
Was it intimate in a relational way or in...
I'm saying intimate as far as like intercourse. Yeah, this is how we made the kids. She said it was a one-time thing. No, she's like, oh, like it was a one-time thing. I was embarrassed to, mention it. I can't remember her exact words, but she just goes through, like she's reading a paper and she just goes through like saying, he was a sperm donor for my son, but we had sex to conceive the twins.
Yeah.
And so this flips everything around because it's like one time she's saying, no, we never had sex, we never had intercourse. And he was saying the same thing. Now she's saying that they did, but only for half. And so of course he was...
So you're seeing this post the reunion filming.
Post after already filmed.
And now you're looking at him. He's looking at you.
Like...
How is he...
Sent me to the wolves.
Yeah. How is he back in the... What is he saying?
He's saying it's not true. He's saying nothing about it is true. He's even going as far as to say they never had sex at all. And so yeah.
Come on now.
He's standing on it. When I say standing on it, his mom, she's a lot like everybody, his friends, everyone around me. I even tried to get his little niece by herself when I seen her.
What's the truth, baby girl?
I was like, your cousins are here. Like, just to see if she was like, my other cousin, or anything like that, just to see. No, he's standing on it.
Still to today.
Till today, he is standing on that he did not conceive the twins via sex. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That I will say.
Yeah. Okay, so break down the 5 parts a little bit more because I'm not going to lie. I didn't watch past the 2 seconds of it because I'm like, this.
Can I tell you that that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life? You are interviewing this girl. You're asking her questions about something that you yourself did not watch. How are you supposed to hold her accountable? How do you know that she's lying? How do you know that she's telling the truth? Because Ashley spoke a lot of lies, even in that part where she speaks about the reunion and not knowing and the 5 parts coming out right before the reunion. She sat on that reunion stage beside Liler and put on a show about how nothing and nobody can tell her about what's going on in her marriage. To come out like this, and AD being like, I never watched it because I was just like, I was too about the drama. I cannot watch it. Like, no, I can't watch it. Like, shut up. You want to be an interviewer. You want to be a podcaster, but you can't take the time to do the research that you need to speak to someone. It's so irresponsible, right? And I could see why Ashley felt comfortable because she knew that this is all damage control to me. And it shows you, like, we're about to get into the thick of it. You're going to see them turn and have such vitriol for other Black women content creators who covered this story, who covered Love is Blind, and who cover Love is Blind as a part of their content before this whole thing with Ashley. So, yeah, let's continue. But I just thought that was so irresponsible. Like you're going to sit down with this girl to have an interview. You could have at least tapped in and watched. Is all I'm saying.
This is taking it too far.
Yeah,
this
agreed.
is like Love is Blind After Dark. Like this don't got shit to do with me. I don't want to.
Yeah,
and it was everywhere. It was everywhere. So if you want to break it down a little bit, or however you feel comfortable telling us like what all, because you don't need 5 parts to say we had sex.
Yeah, I think she just went from the beginning of how, like, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't remember either, to be honest, I trauma blocked that out.
Right.
But if I'm not mistaken, she started out just talking about their relationship, how he was her best friend, how he stepped in to help her with the son. Again, admirable. She was going through a divorce with her previous wife, and that he originally was just supposed to be a sperm donor, like / uncle for the son, but then allegedly one night, you know, I guess something happened between them, and it was a one-time thing where
abracadabra.
Yep. Poof.
Yeah.
Twins.
Yeah.
And that, you know, she was basically taking back the fact that they had never had intercourse, and that, you know, she was hard for her to say this because she's always been, you know, she's a mask presenting lesbian. And so she's always been in a lesbian, you know, relationship. Yeah. And so she was just saying, like, this was difficult for her to come out and say, but this is what the truth is. And that she didn't like her kids being referred to as sperm donor children, which, by the way, I thought was the proper term.
Because that's what he said.
That's what he said. Right. And I didn't mean it in a derogatory way or to demean the children or anything. Like, I was even hoping, like, I hope that kids, you know, kids are cruel. Yeah. I'm like, I hope no kids see this and are like teasing them anyway. It's nothing wrong with it at all. But I'm just saying, you know, and so she didn't.
Ashley continues to be full of shit here. And this is what was pissed me off about this the most, because you guys, I'm not necessarily a big reality TV watching fan. Like, a lot of it's very low vibrational. And, you know, I do my best. But I liked Love is Blind. I think, like, her season was the last season. I tried to watch the season after hers, and it just wasn't. I can't. It's boring. I don't believe it. I'm actually really upset at the way that they conduct things at Love is Blind. There's been so many lawsuits about the treatment of them, like not feeding them, hours without breaks, just different things, and even just covering up things that haven't happened that were inappropriate, especially for the women, and especially in regards to Black women. They need to do a better job of vetting these men. Just different things. But yeah, let's continue. Because like I said, we're at 16 minutes and this is over an hour. I did put it on 1.25 speed, but still, y'all, like, I know, like, we're at my time wise. Okay, 27 minutes. let's continue.
Like the way that they were being referred to. And so she just wanted to come out and finally say her truth. It was a lengthy explanation. But needless to say, the end result was her saying he fathered the twins.
Did you actually ever get the truth from this man? Or did you get what you think was the truth?
I found it myself. I didn't get it from him. I found it myself. I found the truth myself, yes.
Okay. Is that something you want to share?
I do not believe the story of her finding it herself. She's full of shit. She's full of shit. The internet found it. The internet plastered it. A lot of it was public record, which she could have found herself if she actually did. If she's saying that she found it out herself prior to all that, then I still think that she's being disingenuous and dishonest in this interview because of the way that she acted, even when the everything started coming out. She was talking a lot. She was defending a lot. And remember, she wasn't there. She could only go by what he told her. So I didn't understand why she was talking. I personally would have sat back and either we both be quiet, he talks, but I wouldn't have said anything. Like, I wouldn't have been caping so hard for this man just because he's my husband, especially when she admits herself during this interview that she started to see red flags long before, right? I mean, he was jobless, he was homeless. I mean, this man, like, there was so much, y'all, like, so much. He's been sued, child support. The twins, the children, had his last name. So them being sperm donor, why'd you sign the birth certificate, Tyler? Why? And then why are you capping so hard just based off his words, when all of this is public record. It doesn't make sense. I think she's one of those women who is just like, my man, my man, my man. I'm going to stand by my man just because that they're your man. And it always, women like that always end up looking dumb. Women like these two always end up looking dumb. And I'm hopeful for AD. But I remember her Love is Blind season. And had that man not rejected her at the altar, she would have married him. And she would have been Ashley 2.0. Because Clay, AD's match in Love is Blind, he was not into her. He took it all the way to the altar, I think, for the money and because of the contractual agreements. But I'm sorry, AD and Ashley are birds of a feather. They flock together. You know, that's why they're sitting there like, we see each other, because they do. They're looking in a mirror right now. When they see each other, they are mirroring the kind of women, which is pick-meism, pick-mishas. This is this exemplified. And that's when I first watched the video, I thought, oh, this is another good video on internalized misogyny. But then it took a turn into me thinking about how Christian women wear this mask of female empowerment sometimes that really is a bold-faced lie. Like, I don't think that you could be a part of an Abrahamic religion and hold women empowerment views at the top of your list. It's impossible. You're worshiping a patriarchal God, patriarchy, patriarchal religions, white supremacy, capitalism. They're all brothers and sisters. But let's continue.
Or what is the truth? Because I know I want to know. And I know there was a lot of lies spewed. There was a lot of omitting.
Mm-hmm.
What is the truth?
I want to be very careful with my words. And this man by no means deserves any grace from me. And I have every weapon in my arsenal and at my disposal to destroy him. But it's just not my style. And so, you know, while he drugged me into this, I don't want him to turn me into someone that I'm not. However, what I will say is there's major complexity around that situation and how the children were conceived. And I think that as a woman, I will take ownership and I will apologize for, you know, to the mother of those children for anything that I said that went against anything that she said that was true. Right. So anything that I refuted that was actually true, I apologize, because that watered down her story. You know what I mean? But in the same breath, there's so much more to this story than is public knowledge. And because he kept lying, I had to go do my own research. So I had to resort back to old detective habits and search this man's computer. And when I searched that computer, I found the mother lode.
She is lying. I don't believe she found nothing on that man's computer. She took his computer and went to YouTube. When I tell you that Simone, Jessie Wu, what's her name? That gorgeous woman. Oh, what's her name? Stories with Flip. I can't remember her name, but Jessie Wu did a live with her addressing this. And let me tell you, Simone just alone, she's a lawyer and she's a private investigator. She pulled up the documents. She redacted a lot of information because she didn't want to dox anybody, but she pulled up the information that was public record. Ashley did not discover this on her own. Ashley was blindly following this man, believing whatever he said, taking his word for it so she could be wife, so she could have the status of wife. And she went about it like a classic ass mammy, you know? She did. She went about it that way, but
on more than one thing, not just this topic.
Not just this topic, not just the children, y'all. He owed several women money. He was a fucking homosexual. Like, he was borrowing money from women, dicking them down, borrowing money. We know this kind of guy, right? We know it. There was so much more, but a lot of it was revealed. And maybe she learned even more, right? Maybe we didn't catch it all. But I don't believe that she found this on his computer. Maybe she confirmed a little bit of things, but you didn't have to go to the computer, girl. It was right there all over the internet for you to see. You were watching Jessie Woo's lies. You were watching Simone. You were watching Ricky, Storytime with Ricky. That's her name. You were watching them because they were pulling out all the tea, and she's about to get into it. And this is where she kind of really started pissing me off, but let's go.
Yes. Okay, what did you find?
And so what I'll say is, on this topic of the baby mama drama, what I found were a series of Google Meets chats between him and her over the years. And what I will say is they both created such a messy situation by their actions and how they went about things from beginning to end. And so there's major complexity around how those children were conceived.
Okay. Did she know he was going on the show?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
She knew he was going on the show. To my knowledge, he told me so many things. He told me that, he hadn't seen her or them in years, like 1 or 2 years, I think he said. But in all actuality, he had seen her and the kids the day before he left. So I had no idea about that at all from the start. So this man lied about more than one thing.
Is he a sperm donor or no?
He is a sperm donor for the son. To my knowledge, he fathered the twins.
Okay.
To my knowledge.
Like, based on facts that you saw.
Again, she's pissing me off because she's like, oh, he did donate sperm. And technically he did donate the sperm first to the son. But what she's leaving out is the fact that when she divorced her first wife, that he had donated his sperm for, he then went to court with this woman, got her partner's name removed, got his name put on. He claimed that child as his own. The sperm donor is out the window. He was a father to all 3 of these children. It was very clear with the evidence that was brought up. He went to court. The twins have his last name. Like she's still trying to give us delusion when we've seen proof of otherwise, Ashley. And that's what pisses me off the most about this interview is you're still trying to paint a picture that we already know is not true based on the facts that we've already seen. We've read the court documents. We've seen it. We've seen interviews with his child's mother. We've seen interviews with the partner. These were all out before, like this was what was coming out. That's why she felt like she was being bombarded because it was literally one thing after the other. And you expect me to believe that she just went, oh, I'm going to go find the truth myself. You think you can find more truth than a private investigator, girl? Like, come on, Ashley, come on. Like, these girls are so beautiful too. That's why it irks me so much. They're so fucking gorgeous and so freaking slow.
And
it's difficult to say because
I'm going to be so real with you right now. Kind of how we started this interview and how loud and bold you were. And I'm not saying let's dismantle him, but you deserve this platform to speak your truth and make it all make sense.
Yeah.
And I want to give you that space to say what needs to be said. And I don't want you to feel like you have to feel muted or the world is going to attack you. You've made it through worse.
Yeah.
But I do want you to know that this is a space where, okay, this is Ashley's fucking turn.
Yeah.
This is your turn. You've protected him enough. He didn't protect you. And I'm not saying let's dog him out, but what is the truth to your comfort level so that we can just get an understanding of why, where all this stuff came from, why he lied, why you stayed. Like, I just want to be able to piece it together so that you have some peace.
So it was crazy because according to them both, they had never slept together originally before she came out with that 5-part series, which is when it began to unravel. That was like, wait, I thought you were the homie. Like, you know, I didn't even think this was possible. So till this day, he still tries to say that
he was doing it
regardless of what happened between them two, that's not how the twins were conceived. I don't believe him.
Yeah.
I don't believe him. So of course, why would I believe him, right? In this instance, when he's lied about so many other things. So that's why I'm trying to be careful with what I say because I don't want to tell his story either. But what I feel is that he did father those twins. And I think that they both were in agreement with that at some point. I'm not really sure why she didn't say it at the beginning and why she came out. I guess she said she was hard for her to, talk about as well. But to my knowledge and the things that I saw, yes, he did.
How messy? Like, how messy? And it also is like, how do you think you're going to come on a global TV show with all these skeletons in your closet and think no one is going to dig it up? You're lying to your fiance, you're lying to everyone and thinking that none of this is going to show up. And then how unfortunate to drag you into that.
Yeah. And the thing is, what people don't know too, is everybody believed him. Like when it first came out, like when we had the conversation about the sperm donor on on camera, and even when we took a step back and we're talking one-on-one, but the whole camera crew was like crying. People came up to him afterwards and thanked him essentially for his service.
Right, so honorable.
For donating. Yeah, which it is honorable if that was the case.
Truth, right.
I don't know if I believe that, y'all. They thanked him for his service. This man didn't go to war. He jizzed in a cup. Are we fucking kidding? Oh my gosh, they thanked him for his service. Like, please, Ashley, please. I do not believe that. Like, they may have been like, oh my gosh, you did such a good, thanking him for his service, crying. Like, girl, bye. I do not believe that for 1 second. I'm sorry. I just don't. I do not believe that they thanked him for his service. Like,
who knows? Like,
right.
Who knows even about the son? I don't know.
Right.
You
don't.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't believe anything anymore. So, but, that was the thing that I was gripping to when I was defending this man is no way someone would come on global television and do this, because that's just stupid.
Right.
That makes no sense whatsoever unless you had a gag order, which you didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Had you had said gag order,
maybe.
Yeah, but you didn't. So I think that I don't know what did he think was going to happen? And let's say that he did go on because he was like, oh, is it, once in a lifetime opportunity? Because I told him no way should you have went on this show unless your life was in order. But let's just say he did go. To marry me is crazy work.
Right.
To ask for my mom's hand.
Insanity.
I mean, my hand, it to my mom is.
This girl literally said that she would choose that man over her own mother and friends. And I know you're thinking, oh, that's her husband. You guys have to understand, this is a show where they meet, date in 8 weeks. It can't be more than 3 months, and have to decide whether love is blind or not. This is not a man she dated for 2 years and got engaged with. You met this man in the pods. This is a reality show that's been on for several seasons now. You both had the opportunity to watch it. You know what it's about. Why would you do that? Why? Because he needed a place to stay. He was, what else was reported was that he had nowhere to live, y'all. Like he had nowhere to go. He needed this. He needed this. And he had no job. So if you guys were to pop off as a couple, which is what Netflix hope was, because they know how well Black Love does for them and their show, he would have had a whole different vibe. He could have created a whole career. He would have had endorsements. This is what he was counting on. But you see, men like Liler don't get to run away. People are always going to step forward to throw them under the bus, especially when they are lying to everyone around them, including the other people. Why come on a show like this? Narcissists do this all the time. We see it all the time, Ashley. And I kind of think Ashley's a narcissist herself. But let's continue.
It's crazy work when your life was in such a disarray in more area than one.
So you don't think he was ready for marriage?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
In no way, shape, or form. He should have never went on the show.
Did he believe he was ready for marriage?
He presented. That's the thing. Like, this man is different.
Yeah.
This is
scary.
uncharted territory. I don't know how much and in what ways I can say this to get people to grasp. When I said I'm wise and when I said I was intuitive, I wasn't saying that for just throwing good words out there. That's what I usually am. So this was a mind F for me, big time, trying to rationalize how he slipped through the cracks. He presented himself as...
It's her, oh my God, you met him in the pods. You guys talked behind a wall for 6 weeks. What don't you understand about how easy it is to misrepresent yourself? People are doing that right now in everyday life on regular dating. What did you go into this situation expect? Let me show some grace, because if I were to go on a show and I know that these men and you're supposed to do a background check, and I guess I would have, but men are men. Are men not menning? Men are men. and I hate to say it, but especially Black men, like they aren't statistically known to be the best partners. But again, Black women ignore that. We uplift the Black men, even above ourselves, their image, and what we want to believe about them instead of what they actually present to us. Granted, he waited till they were engaged, came back from the honeymoon, and all that stuff before letting her know about the children, which I can understand being thrown, but that would have been like the first big red flag. I don't know if I could have married someone who kept all of that for weeks. That's something I would have wanted to know in the pods. That's a huge red flag. Why did you marry him with such a huge red flag on the table and you knowing that you did not know? I just chose to believe him. Okay, Ashley. Like that's supposed to make you, that's what your intuition told you to do. That's what your wisdom told you to do, that this man that you met on a reality show through a wall is worth throwing away all your wisdom and intuitiveness. You just wanted to be married. You just wanted the title. You were going to marry anybody just so you could walk around saying, I'm a wife. And that is one of the patriarchal downfalls of Christian women, women in Abrahamic religions, and pick-meism. You know, again, I know in my heart that we are taught to be this way. We are brought up to be this way. We are indoctrinated to be this way, especially if you grew up within the confines of an Abrahamic religion. But girl, you're also grown. You're also grown. Like you've dated, you've seen, like I'm sure she's had relationships that were serious and long enough and realized that I don't know this person, but you're so baffled and kerfuddled by the fact that he was lying to you in such a short amount of time. Like you were really supposed to know better and know more. I really think that just as much as it was about the show for Liler, it was about being on the show for her. I mean, at one point in this, she calls herself kind of like a celebrity. I'm like, Ashley, calm down. Okay, celebrity, calm the fuck down, girl.
That man.
Mm-hmm.
He presented himself as that man during filming to the point everybody loved him. He's very charismatic.
Right.
And so during filming, he did all these things. He was so kind, and he was, he seemed like he was ready for an honest marriage, which is why we jumped out of the plane.
Mm-hmm.
These leap of faith with each other, locked in, so and even over the year of marriage, like, again, we had marital hardships, but we had a good time for the most part. And he didn't present himself as this.
Right.
I had to reflect back to realize, oh, you lied about that. You lied about that. You lied about that. Oh my God, who are you?
Right. Because you guys did seem extremely, like, despite him being the donor and whatever, you guys seemed pretty healthy. And were there any red flags that you probably maybe looking back on now see, or maybe we missed?
No, there weren't really any red flags. He was on his P's and Q's while filming, like, for the most part. I don't think I seen a red flag until like our first month of marriage.
Yeah.
And by that point,
we're in it.
I'm already in it.
Right.
And I never wanted to get divorced.
Right.
So the only thing I could do at that point when I began to see little remnants, because as you know, anything that you say in the pods and anything that you say while filming.
This is a man that you just met, Ashley. This is a man that you just met, Ashley. This is a man that you just met, Ashley. Yes. Oh, I never planned to get divorced. I feel like it's unwise to go in a situation where you're meeting a stranger and getting married so quickly under the guise of reality television and entertainment to fathom that that would last long, that divorce wouldn't be an option if things go wrong. And again, I feel like it's that Christian belief, like you're not supposed to get divorced. You're supposed to work through anything and everything. You're supposed to give it your all, even though men don't enter into marriages with that same mentality. Statistically, just going with what we know and what we see. When you look at divorce rates and marriages and why people divorce, come on, Ashley. There's no wisdom here. There's no intuition here.
Is law. It is vital that you stick to it because that is what determines. Yeah, and that's what determines if I should marry you or not. That's what determines if our lives will flourish together. So there were many assurances that he gave me of things he would do and this and that throughout the marriage. That when we got in, and I was like, okay, this isn't being done. This isn't being done. I'm keeping all of the things, my word for the things I said I would do. What about you? But again, I was already married, so I was like, okay, lock in. I'm in this. Like, how do I unfortunately build this man up. I thought I was done with that. I thought he was going to come cooked,
Right.
prepared, utensil, place settings,
right.
everything.
Ashley, you saying you didn't know he was unemployed? You were willing to build a man because it made you look good. You were willing to build a man because it came with as what you thought would be certain celebrity. Had this gone your way, this would be a totally different thing. Like, let's be for real. And I do think she's just as strategic in using this show to try to catapult some sort of celebrity in order to do that. But yeah, like, I don't know, she irritates me. I loved Ashley too. I loved her during her season, but this really, I don't think she can come back from this. She should have waited till maybe the divorce was complete. And spoken to someone who took the time to research and to know so that they can have an honest conversation, because she's not being honest, and AD doesn't know it because she hasn't done the research. She hasn't watched the 5-part series. She hasn't tapped in because it was just too messy for her. It was too messy for me, you know? So because it was too messy, she didn't do the work for her job.
Right? So to know that I now had to help him learn how to be a leader in this marriage on top of us just being married after a little over 40 days was a lot. And I think that when people ask me, like, so what was it? Like, there were a lot of little things that he would do, but that was the extent of what he could do.
Yeah.
The little things, I made big things because I wanted him to feel valued.
Appreciate the coffee.
The coffee, the flowers, knowing my coworkers' names at work, and like, things like that. And the men I've dated in the past who were affluent men, just throw you a bag and shut up. You know, he wasn't that way. So it was a breath of fresh air. And I think that
she accepted the bare minimum because she felt like, well, he can't give me the bag, but he brings me coffee. He does little thoughtful things. He did that actually because he didn't have no money. He couldn't afford nothing but a coffee and maybe a little bouquet from the farmer's market. He was not working. He was jobless. He was homeless. Like, the debt that he had from owing people and being sued. Girl.
Made that the thing I clung to. Is like
the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Yeah.
The bare minimum, which again, if you're doing the bare minimum along with other things, great.
Yeah.
But that was the extent of what he could do.
Because you can't be a bare minimum and
it's not great.
That's a double whammy.
You know what? I'm going to stray a little bit because you and I both know how extensive our background checks are for this damn show. Like social media, literal background checks. How did this slip through?
So here's the thing too. Like, people were saying like his mom had pictures and that he had pictures of the kids on his page at one point, in which I did see a screenshot that someone had put up or something that he did once, post the children. However, he had to have deleted all of that. People were like, he deleted it when he got back. That's impossible because if it was still on his page, then they would have picked up on it. He told me that he did tell like the casting producers and whatever that he was a sperm donor, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's it. And honestly, it's his word against hers. And, at this point, because it's no proof if no one was there in the room with you all.
Right.
So I don't think that they looked into it any further past him saying, oh, I was a sperm donor. It's like, oh, great. Thank you. And so I think that's how he slipped through, by probably deleting everything. And maybe his mom's page was private on, Facebook or whatever. I don't know. But apparently, like, he was.
Since when is checking social media pages extensive background checking? These ladies, Jessie Wu, Simone, they pulled these up with the quickness. You think that this production company who does a thorough background check on its constituents really didn't know that it's just slipped through the cracks because it wasn't on Instagram? Like, miss me with the bullshit.
Was posting them as his children at one point or something.
Christmas pajamas.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah. And that, by the way, that was my first time seeing. He told me during the sperm donor conversation while we were filming that he didn't have any pictures of them because he wasn't in their lives like that.
And then
like
boom.
That. Right. So when I seen all of this, I was like,
that's so scary.
It's very scary.
That is so
It's very scary. And I need people to humanize that for a second.
Yeah.
Of where I'm sitting there like, and I think the thing I was clinging to was there gotta be something here. You know how like all the proof can point towards something, but it's like what if one thing comes out and we find out, I was waiting for whatever this one thing was to pop up to prove like him innocent, essentially. Like I have all brothers.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm a girl's girl to the end of the day, at the end.
No, you're not, Ashley. No, you're not. I'm a girl's girl at the end of the day. I'm a girl's girl. You didn't act like a girl's girl when it came to this woman and her children. You called them sperm babies. You talked about them in like, you may not have felt like it was derogatory, but the jokey way that you spoke about them, about the way that they were conceived, the way that you would talk about Bree, which is I believe the mother of the children's name, and her partner, and even their partnership, and the ignorance that you displayed. You're not a girl's girl. Like, stop saying that. You're a liar. And I don't think Christian women can be girls. You can't bow to the cross of patriarchy and then be like, I'm a girl's girl. Absolutely not. No, you're not. You're fake as fuck. You're only a girl's girl up until the point that it benefits you. The minute that it doesn't, or the minute that the lens is on someone you know and that you love and that you've decided that you're going to ride for, you're not a girl's girl. You're a misogynistic woman, a patriarchal woman.
End of the day. But I know that someone coming out, especially when they think fame is going to happen or whatever, that it could be motive there, right? So I wanted to be sure.
Right.
So I was waiting for this thing to pop because, again, this is global television.
Yeah.
There are people in Sweden watching with subtitles.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is, and even they know. So like I really was clinging to the fact that no way someone would go on here and lie, like that.
And not even be good at it. Okay, so
staying in delusion is not wise, nor is it an intuitive act, Ashley. Like, you say these things about yourself to present yourself like, I know better, I'm smart, I know better, I'm wise, I'm intuitive, and then admit to all this, girl. You are not. I'm gonna take a quick little break just to, because we're at the halfway point, and we are gonna continue.
Hey, you guys, it's your girl, Dayna Patreace, aka the Black Fairy. And I am just here to remind you, please like, share, comment, subscribe, okay? Click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos or any new lives, okay? I will be coming here with more and more information. So please, you don't want to miss out. And this is just a quick reminder and a quick thank you, because it's a free way to support the channel and to support me. I love y'all.
Okay, so we're back. We are going to get right back into it. Please remember, leave your comments. What are you guys thinking about this? Did you watch her season of Love is Blind? Did you watch AD's season of Love is Blind? Are you on par with what I'm saying? Do you have your own views? Do you believe Ashley? Because I don't believe Ashley, but we're getting into the thick of it. We're getting to the part where they're going to start talking about Jessie Woo, and here's where it descends into hell for me. I have a lot of choice words for these ladies in regards to this. This is where the internalized misogyny starts to get vomited out, and we start to see the true colors of these ladies. But let's continue.
So do you feel like standing by him, like, was more of a pressure from him? Because at the reunion, you stood very strong, which I do still think is honorable, because that is your husband. At that point in time, that is your husband. Do you feel like there was any pressure from him to stay in your marriage and stand so strong by him?
No, I think the pressure was I put it on myself. I think because at that time, I hadn't found the information for myself. I hadn't found out about all the lies yet, because when we filmed the reunion, again, this was a week or two before the mom of the kids had ever came out saying anything otherwise. So right before the reunion, the night before, we're in the room, they give us a little wine, we're chatting. I remember putting my hands out like this. Sorry, it's okay. And I was like, am I sleeping with the enemy? And he said, no, you're not. And I asked him, is there anything that I need to know, please do not send me to the wolves. And he literally was like, no, there's nothing else you need to know. We're in this together. And that's why I can't wrap my mind around it, because that was the moment for you to be like, this, and you take me or leave me. And he continued.
He's a liar, Ashley. You found out that he was lying a month into the marriage. So now that you're married almost a full year and you're at the reunion, you're handing out, you think that he's going to tell you the truth? You've seen so much before this even happened, according to you. There were red flags all over the place. And you went on that reunion stage acting like you knew everything. There's nothing nobody could tell you. And literally less than like a week after the reunion airs, which was done live, if I'm not mistaken, or within like a 72-hour time frame, you were speaking more than a liar. He was letting you take it all. Like, you got a lot of heat because you had the most mouth. But we're going to continue. I do feel bad for her in a lot of ways. I know how ignorant some of us can be. I was raised Christian, so I've lived and I was one of these ladies, when I was, filled with internalized misogyny and indoctrinated to believe what marriage and wifehood would be like, so in a way I get it, but also like, this is 2025. That shit ain't real. At least we should. And if people are presenting you information that's valid, the court documents and things like that, like, why are you, don't show that to me. Don't show that to me. I'm writing for my man. No, Ashley.
Even when I was drowning, he continued. And so I had that kind of reassurance where I was like, okay, we're in this together. Let's do this, and that's why I went out there so boldly and spoke, because why? Again, why? Okay, people are crazy. Yes, we know that. Yeah. But why would someone do that again on a large platform like that? My mom is sitting there, like, we're all riding for you. My grandma.
And you gave him the safe space.
And I gave you, I literally, and I learned that, like, if you make men feel comfortable, that maybe, they'll feel that vulnerable space to be that with you. And I gave him that. And
still,
after that, we slept together. He cuddled me, everything. And I'm like, that's a different kind of person, So I think that if maybe the video would have come out before the reunion, even if I was still with him trying to figure out things for myself, I think I would have navigated the reunion a little differently, because which is why I wanted to.
Again, she's lying. The information came out before. She's also did a podcast before. They were asking her about this information, and she was standing on business for this man, for the story that he gave her that she was not present for. And she spoke it with her chest. This is why I hold a little bit of grace for Ashley, but Ashley, come on. Like, you want me to believe you're smart and then look at your actions and see, like, I don't know. She's not trustworthy to me.
To have the sperm donor conversation on camera, I think that people can tell when you're not being authentic. Yeah. And so I would have at least said, like, hey, me and him are in a good space right now, but we're working things out. I could have took that path. Right. You didn't even.
He allowed you to be loud, wrong.
I would have been like, sit down. Don't do another podcast.
Don't say shit else.
Don't say shit else.
And the thing is, he got quieter and like left you to, like, literally.
I was getting it more than him. Yeah. I was getting it more than him for sure, which is hilarious. Because I think that it just became a smear campaign, and I was the headliner. And also, he don't know what to say. So I was like, send me, take me. But again, that's just how I am as a friend. That's how I am as a daughter. That's how I am as, with anyone I love. I will go to bat for you if you're being honest.
If you're being honest, but you know that he's a dishonest person. You had red flags from the month you were in. You knew he was a dishonest person. By the time the reunion came out, the pictures were out. So you definitely knew he was a dishonest person, but you chose to move forward with this path. Let me tell you, the only reason Ashley is divorced is because of all the heat, and she knows she can't come back out of it. There's no coming back from it with everything. She really thought that she could. That's why I think, like, she was, if Liler was in it for the fame, I think she was as well, to a huge extent. Like, she didn't think it would be a problem because when the show dropped, he would get endorsements. There would be so much opportunity for them. Him being unemployed was something that she was willing to take on because she felt that, like, a lot of the popular couples, which they would have been if this didn't come out, because they were a popular couple for their season until all this came out. She would have reaped all the benefits, and she got none. They even said that, like, oh, we didn't get none of the end. We didn't get anything that comes with it. Yeah, that's what they were expecting. And she was willing to put up with it, to put up the facade, to be like, oh, I chose him. And despite anything he did, he was the one you chose. So you were going to stand by him wrong and strong, no matter what. Ashley, I really want women to do better in this sense, especially if you are going to get married.
You know, and so on reflection, I do wish that, you know, that video would have came out. Like, and so again, people don't know the timeline of things. So they're like, oh, this aired afterwards. She's still doing this. I'm like, no. You didn't hear me say a peep after that.
Right.
Lies. We heard you peeping, squawking, chirping.
What's there to say? How was it watching Tyler be like exposed on TV and the internet and everything?
It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking too, because again, we were living together. We were in the thick of it together, and I was believing the things that he was saying. So to see everything transpiring, it was difficult. And again, that's what caused the discord between us, because I'm also side-eyeing him like, okay, God, it was so much. It wasn't just a child thing. It was so many different things that, and again, I don't want to say a child thing because they love to crucify me for how I refer to the children. So, you know, it wasn't just that it was so many things. And so, you know, people were writing my job. They were trying to get me fired. So to see all of these things happening, and even him, someone I loved at the time, it was sad. It was sad. It was just, my emotions were all over the place.
How did he protect you, if at all, during this time?
None. Besides him, like I said, holding me when I had panic attacks, being in the house. I remember one time this man said to me, I don't have the emotional capacity to be there for you right now. I said, what?
Don't piss me off.
This is the end too. This is like,
yo, Lila would have got beat up. I'm an Aries, okay, and I know people hate. Oh, don't use your side. My temper. You're putting me through all of this. You lied to me. You're gonna hold my hand, probably with a napkin in between, while you tell me I don't think I can emotionally support you through all this shit. You know, yes, it's all my shit because of all my lies, but I can't be there. Ooh, this house is on fire. Burn it down, Lisa Left Eye Lopez style. This house is on fire. No, Ashley, no. No, I'm sorry. This is like, I've seen this. Ashley, I hate this for you.
Like around the end, right? I'm like, what you mean you don't have the emotional capacity to be there for me? He gave up, essentially. Like, it was one point, like, his job, like, put him on a performance review and everything because he was giving up. I didn't have the luxury to do that. I had to show up at work every day. Like, because I also know they see this stuff.
Right.
You know, and I can't give up right now. So when at that time where I needed him to pour into me because I was going and I was fighting for you, and you say something like that to me, oh, the house was in
shambles,
chaos.
Yeah.
That's why when people were saying like, oh, this and that, I'm like, just because I'm not publicly telling you what's going on in these walls does not mean there's not anything going on. It was, like, I was ripping him a new one almost daily, you know, trying to figure out. When I realized, oh, he really won't, I said, I'll find it myself.
When did your discernment kick in? Like, when were you like, enough is enough?
I think after the reunion, when she came out with that video. I didn't have the proof. And with a liar like him, you need proof. I remember when they were saying, okay, so the kids' names, the twins had his last name. And the twins had his last names, but she went to go change it to hers. And it was like a public record, like document. And I remember asking him about it. He was like, he had no idea that the twins like had his last name. Like, da. So when I did my computer search, I went through his email and saw he signed off on it and sent them a document back to her email. So I kid you not, I pull out my phone and I say, so what is this? He said, I didn't sign that. I said, someone hacked your email.
Oh my God.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's in his face. It's right here. And I'm like, did someone hack your email?
What?
He was like, I don't know. So I asked him later on, Why lie when it's in your
Right,
face? He was like, I didn't want to make matters worse. It's already as bad as
It can't get no worse than this. Yeah.
You're sleeping in the living room.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping in my room because I had to give him a 30-day notice.
Mm-hmm.
So
She had to give him a 30-day notice, y'all. This is how you know how trifling he is. He had nowhere to stay. Why? If your wife have to give you a 30-day notice, especially when it's not even like out of nowhere. Not even like she's leaving you for. Look at everything that she's describing, what he did, and that's in regards to what we know. She says there's more. He was sleeping on the couch. She don't even. She don't even. I know she's trying to give us some sort of transparency, but it just makes this looks terrible. I think I was watching Yanni talk about this, and she, Real Talk with Yanni, I love her channel. Beautiful young lady. A lot of wisdom. She's someone who's wise and very intuitive. But she made some amazing points about this. And I'm sorry. I lost track of what I was going to say. I'm looking like at the time and I'm like, I'm way over the time I thought I would be doing this. Okay, let's continue. Sorry. But yeah, Real Talk with Yanni was saying it.
Like this is already where, where it's supposed to be. And you still lied with it in your face. That's when I knew he was a lost cause in my relationship.
Yeah. How did you approach the decision to go public with your breakup?
So I knew that I kind of wanted to just put out a blanket statement for now because I, again, was still in my healing process and we had been separated for quite some time by that point. So I didn't tell him that I was coming out, with a statement at all. I wanted him to be blindsided like I was, right? So I just set everything up and we released the statement to people and I hopped on a flight to Turks and did an untap and a reset and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. And I just, from that point on, I know he was pissed because again, it probably blindsided him and I didn't care about that, obviously.
Did he reach out?
No, he didn't. What could one say? But yeah.
What?
I was going to say no, but I think his punishment was just making the divorce hard by not answering my lawyers and just waiting to the last minute, missing deadlines and things like that after I moved like that.
Okay.
I think he was probably like, oh, I got one for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to drag it. Yeah. So are you guys divorced?
My 6-month mark is next week.
Okay.
So then I can file on May 21st at 11:59 p.m.
Come on, 11:59.
Yes. Yes. And
she's not counting anything.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you nervous to see how people would react to the breakup announcement? And what has the response been like?
Yeah, I was nervous, especially, again, like, I really don't think people know. I think that people think when we sign up for these reality shows that we just become a star, right? No, we don't. Like, we're still just very normal people. And so my nerves were ragged, honestly, because I knew that it was going to be a headline again.
Well, people were preying on your downfall.
They were preying, oh, we told you so.
In the most cruel, disgusting a way I have ever seen people prey on someone. And it came from, again, inside the house.
Yes, it did.
This part pisses me off, and it's because this is where they start talking about Jessie Wu, Simone, and her name just slipped me again. Damn it. But started speaking about but not speaking. Oh, I'm not going to mention it. Say it with your chest, AD. Say it with your chest. And to call it disgusting and all they weren't doing anything but reporting the news. I feel like Simone's a lawyer and a private investigator. Yes, she has a YouTube channel, which is smart because you're monetizing for yourself. And you're not working on a platform such as yourself, AD, that was constructed and set up by a network that you used to work with. They built their platforms on their own, off their own names and their brand. Both Jessie and the other one whose name I mentioned and now cannot remember, they're both journalists. Like they went to journalism school, graduated, have their, I don't know if they have their master's or whatever, but whatever, they have degrees. So they're putting it to use by creating these content channels where they can use their skills to monetize for themselves instead of working for other people. They could tell the news that they want their way. And before Ashley's season, they've been talking about Love is Blind. It's like the call is coming from inside the house. This is their bird call to Black women, because we aren't supposed to hold each other accountable, right? We're not supposed to. It's that same image of like, oh, the image of my image is way more important as a Black woman than what I represent. Just like how you see a lot of Black women do with Black men. It's more important, their image and what they are meant to represent for the community, than it is truly about having good representation out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's about the image. Like, we're supposed to be beholden to the image and just allow anybody and anyone, despite what they've done or doing or anything like that. It's like what you see with Diddy and Tory Lanez and all these things, right? There's a certain set of women who will rally around them just because they like, oh, we don't have any rich Black men we can look up to. Well, even if we didn't have any, why would these men be what you want to be? You're just willing to take anything, anybody? Like, please. So the calls coming from in the house is that bird call, right? That pigeon cry to other pigeon ass bitches, okay, that are like you. And honestly, what I saw was everyone on dragging Liler until it became clear, because Miss Thing said, I know what's going on in my marriage. I know the story. You guys don't. And we realized that you were complicit in the story and allowing this man to remove himself out of these Black children's lives and the Black family he created for you, Ashley, just because we want to see a Black woman win. We want to see a Black woman win and end up with someone worthy. I mean, I remember Jesse Wu's whole thing was, we ride at dawn for Ashley when they were exposing Liler. It was only after you made it clear to us that you were on his side. You weren't going nowhere. You made all those snide remarks about his children, even after finding out the truth according to your own timeline. Because I remember the videos, Ashley. I remember the little snide, little voiceovers you do. Come on. You're not innocent. And they didn't do anything wrong. They were doing their job.
And I don't want to say no one's name in particular, but there is a very loud presence on the internet that just, it was almost like she was just sitting there waiting,
checking.
You know exactly what I'm talking
daily.
about.
Yes. Checking daily,
waiting.
Yeah. I think that they kept hiding behind the fact that it was for the kids. It was for the kids to justify how they were. And that's the thing. They were coming at me more than him.
Yeah.
They were coming at you more than him, Ashley, because you were the one that was speaking. Liler was quiet. You said yourself earlier in this that you were just building them up. You were taking on everything. You were like, take me, remember? But now you're mad that the focus was on you? When you said, take me, you put the spotlight on yourself? You put yourself in this position when all you had to do was be quiet? I swear, Yanni was right when she said that this interview was not a good idea. You shouldn't have done it. You're still trying to make us out to be something that we are not in your story. You put yourself on an international TV show. And when shit hit the fan, you became Captain Save-A-Ho and then got mad that the machine gun that was aimed at him turned to you when you yourself admitted that you jumped in front of it. Like, girl, like, this is why there's no accountability. Like, it started off good, but she constantly, and you can tell that there's no remorse. And this is just about trying to save what little image she had left. And she failed. She failed. Yanni said she failed. And I don't think she's coming back from this. I think
like I can't rationalize that because it doesn't make sense to me.
Because you were so
bold. But even in that, right,
Yeah.
it's still not my act.
It's not.
You know what I mean? And although, people were saying like, it wasn't my problem. It was because this is someone I was choosing to,
husband,
believe in, someone that was supposed to protect me and someone that vowed to. So, at that time, I'm still navigating my relationship being in shambles and the social media hate at once. I'm spiraling, and on top of that, I wasn't seeing everything on social media because I had to have my friends running my social media for a moment so I could untap, because it was literally about to be my undoing. Like, it was that bad. Like, girl, I was in
baby, this is your undoing. You should have just left well enough alone. You shouldn't have broken your silence. You're literally not giving us anything that we didn't know, except for excuses for yourself. You won't throw Tyler under the bus, even though you could bury him, but you're going after these Black women who were simply trying to really get the information to you. It was out of concern for you. And you didn't have to take what they said, right? You didn't have to follow it. You didn't have to. But to make it seem as if they were trying to take you down and make you the villain, that's absurd.
People are saying that they're making videos to protect the kids, or what?
I guess they're saying like, this is about the kids. Like we're digging so hard because it's, it's about the children, but it stopped being about the children a long time ago.
Okay.
And it started being about clickbait to me.
Okay.
And I think that by them hiding behind that, it could mask what was really going on, which was a takedown for him and me, which, okay,
Why are we so passionate about other people's business like that to the point where it needs to be hurtful?
You go on a reality show because you want people to be passionate about your business. Reality follows your reality. It follows your life. So what do you mean? Why would you go on a reality show if you didn't want anybody to be in your business? Why would you entertain the idea of a reality show if you didn't want to deal with people being in your business? Had you guys been an amazing couple that everybody loved and everybody was yelling Black love, you wouldn't have cared that they were in your business, that they were talking about you and that you were the main headline. In fact, that's why you're mad, because you guys were set to be that couple for this season. Her season was not the very best. Not a lot of people got married. So they were banking on it, especially the Black love perspective. That coin runs deep. And they were expecting it. And so were you. That's why you went on the show. And that's why, AD, you're being disingenuous, because that's exactly why you went on your show. Why would you do that? Why would they do that? Why are you so invested? Have you watched reality TV at all in the past 20 years? Like, stop it.
There's so many things that I saw. I was like, how is this helpful?
It was the most dehumanizing experience of my life.
How is this helpful?
It wasn't. And how does this help the kids? Because honestly, the more information.
And she's saying, AD, you keep saying, how is that? You didn't watch anything. You didn't even watch it. So you don't know how it was helpful. You have no idea because you didn't watch it. You said yourself you did not watch the 5-part series. You said you didn't want to get involved and watch all these videos that you saw popping all the time. So you're asking a question, but then the one act that could have gave you clarity you didn't do, which was watch it. Am I wrong? Am I reading the room wrong? Or is that not what was just stated? Like the delusion of, and you guys said, oh, why would you go on TV knowing that you have all these things? Why would you go on TV thinking that, one, you can control the narrative, because you really don't know how your story is going to be told. They could do whatever they want and make it and present it however they want with these reality shows. We know that by now. You definitely knew that by the time you got on your season, unless you were just completely ignorant to it. But to now live through it, both of you, and you're acting dotish.
That came out, the sadder I felt for the children for when they get to Google. You know what I mean? And if we're talking about heart here and we're talking about actually caring,
the children are going to see their father's wife at the time being disgusting towards them, not acknowledging them, saying that, oh, don't worry, those kids can just meet him when he's 18. They'll be fine. They're resilient. You who grew up without a father yourself and talked about how that really affected you, was promoting and for another man to do the same to his children. Like, Ashley, I'm not going to forget. I saw you, boo. I saw you.
That's sad, and I think there could have been a way to go about this. Even the women who were saying, we're just doing this because we wanted more for you. Like, especially women of color. We want, don't y'all think I wanted a win for us? Don't you think?
What I say to you at the reunion?
Listen, sure did. A win is a win. A win is a win.
To say that a win is a win just because she got married, a win is a win. At least you got married. You guys are so fucking pathetic. It disgusts me. You know, and I really don't like, because I don't want to be the type of content creator that does this too much, because it really isn't about trying to dog out Ashley and AD. I actually like both of them to a certain extent. I'm actually very happy for AD, and I hope that the rumors that we're hearing aren't true about Ollie. I want you to have that happy ending. You want us to want it because you know the bag that comes with it, AD. You do know this clearly yourself. You're just having a good run, right? And you were loved on your season, AD. So you're like, girl, I just, you didn't think I wanted to win for us? We don't act like you went on Love Is Blind to get a win for the women of color. Like, shut up. Nobody believes that.
It's a win. That's why I'm happy for you, girl, because look, you win, we win, I win, we all win, right?
Yeah.
And I wore the culture on my back when I was filming. I made sure I didn't act ignorant.
She wore the culture on her back, y'all. Who told her to do that? You were supposed to be going there to find love, and you have all these side stories of why you were there outside of love. In fact, I'm going to be a representative. Nobody asked you to do that. We did not ask for you to do that. I feel like if we wanted you to do that, the Black women's delegation would have got together and decided. And after seeing how male-centered you were, because I'm sure if we had access to who you were prior, we would have seen a whole bunch of red flags of pick-meism. You wouldn't have been the choice, Ashley. You put yourself in that position about, oh, I went in there, I didn't act this, and she's going to act list all the ways that would have been the stereotypical Black woman that she apparently didn't do on purpose because she was doing that for us.
Ignorant. I made sure I represented myself classy, educated, all of the things, and that was dismissed because of a man, which I hate that was what tainted.
It wasn't dismissed because of a man, Ashley. It was dismissed because of your behavior, because of your internalized misogyny on display for the world to see that disgusted everyone who came around it. Most, except for the patriarchal women who are just like you.
Your image.
My image.
Yeah.
If it's me, cool.
Yeah.
You don't like me for you did not like me for me.
Right.
You didn't like me because of my counterpart. So yeah, when it came to the social media stuff, it was so.
No, baby, it was you. It was you. We all loved you until you co-signed the bullshit. Then you were getting it too.
Dark. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced in my actual life. And the saddest part about it, AD, is that they would say the most evil things, wish things on my unborn children, and they would go eat, marry, go to sleep, snore, and I would be up at night
sick
for months.
Yeah.
For months. Yeah. You know what I mean? Thank you for the weight loss. But that's about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was, and again, they didn't even know what they were doing because as you guys were dragging me, the only person on the planet who understood what I was going through was the person who was doing it to me. So then comes that trauma bond between us because I'm letting this man hold me and he's actually essentially my captor.
Right.
What I also wanted to.
But Ashley, again, you leaned into that. And I get it, maybe it's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, like you said, a little bit of trauma bonding. But you knew to an extent that this man could not be trusted. You just wanted what you wanted so badly, which was the benefits of what it is to be a successful partner on Love Is Blind. Right? You wanted to be on the Entertainment Tonight. You wanted to do the things. And now you couldn't because we all see your man for who he is and we see you capping for the man that he is. And we can't respect either of you. And the fact that you can't make that connection, like it wasn't me, it wasn't my fault. It was very much your fault. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. Like, I don't understand. You're saying people don't understand the reality TV world, but it doesn't seem like you even understand it. If you can't piece together why people were going so hard on you. In one breath, you admit that you understand why. And then the next breath, you make excuses and act like you didn't deserve it and you don't see why or how, or it was because of him. No, it was because of you. It was because of you, Ashley. I was one of the people that were riding for you until you started clocking in on his behalf. You made that decision. Nobody forced you to do that. You could have been quiet. You should have been quiet. You should still be quiet.
To talk about is, let's say those who did think that they were trying to help me or we wanted better for you. It's the delivery. You guys can't think that you could berate someone like that on a daily and then say, well, we just wanted.
We tried to tell you.
Would you talk to your sister like that, your friend like that? No, you would not.
You know what's sickening is the show.
Yes, the fuck I would. Yes, the fuck I would. Same way I'm talking to you, Ashley, is the same way I would talk to my sister, friend, anybody, because I'm not a fake. I'm not going to put on for you and make you feel better in the midst of keeping you delusional. And maybe that's a part of the problem. You don't have friends who are willing to be like, Ashley, this is pretty fucked up. But then again, Ashley, I remember you distinctively saying that you don't care what any of your friends, you would take him and choose him over your own mother. That was that was on the wedding day or something like that you said that. So you did it to yourself, girly. You really, really did.
By the time the show came out, it was a year already had passed. So people are yelling, screaming at the TV, talking about, we're trying to save you.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm already in it. Girl, I'm married.
Don't
You're
walk
not
down the
helping
aisle.
me.
Too late.
And it's so weird that people can't like calculate a timeline to save their lives. Well, we tried to tell you not to marry him. When?
Yeah.
When I was filming a year ago,
Yeah.
you were trying to what am I to do now?
Yeah.
And how is this helpful? I think that we have such a battle with, again, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to tell you.
Girl, when you got engaged, I went to your page and commented or something. I got attacked in your comments. I'm like, bro, all I'm saying is congrats. Like, you know, and they're like, oh, or no, it was another post when I commented on Marissa and Alex's video about it coming from the inside. This doesn't refer to you.
This one's not for you.
How ain't it?
This one's not for you.
I think that I could speak to it the most.
Come on.
Right?
Come on.
So they're like, oh, you don't get to do that. You know, you stood by a deadbeat and did.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's on me.
Yeah.
I got to hold that.
Yeah.
Not you.
Right.
I have to do the forgiveness from the inside.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know that. But I think that, again, if the people, for the ones who really are like, girl, we were just so disappointed in you. Cool. But you really don't know me. You know, you guys think you do because you watch a show. You don't know me. I've made great decisions for 32 years before that show had aired.
Had the show gone the way that you wanted, Ashley, you wouldn't be saying that. You wouldn't have been saying everybody stay out of your business. You would have wanted everybody in your business. You would have wanted the spotlight on you. You wouldn't have wanted to do all the cute couple cams. You're so disingenuous. Like, just because things didn't go your way, things went to shit, and you tied yourself to that fucking garbage truck and decided to let it drag you down the street of friggin', I don't know, like deception and debauchery and foolishness. And although there's a little bit of empathy for that, also, girl, bye, you know?
You know what I mean? But they don't know that. And so they crucify me for a blip in time. And I think that the biggest thing is because I was so loud and so bold when I was speaking on behalf, but that's the way I love. I can't help it. Like,
that for me was like really sad because I just know.
See how she understands why, but then makes a bunch of excuses. That's the way I love guys. Like, I know I did this. I put myself into it. But why are you pointing towards me? Because you put yourself into it. You put yourself in front of him as a shield. And now you're mad that you're getting shot at when the bullets are for him. But you came and shielded him from it. And you're wondering why you're riddled with bullet wounds?
As women and as Black women, and this is something that I have just said on repeat and repeat and repeat on this couch, but like the way we protect these men, and it's just like the
way you protect these men, like you're doing it right now, instead of focusing on the man who put her in this situation, who's the reason why all of this went to shit in the first place, got less than the women who simply just reported on the news, did their job that they do every season of Love is Blind. But because it didn't go your way, you're mad? Again, like, reconcile that with yourself, sweetie. Next therapy session, that should be what you're focusing on, because you still haven't. You're not there yet.
Like, I can see it in my head. You just, like, some of the things that you were saying, like, some of y'all never been married and it shows. Like, you want to protect yourself. You want to protect your man. And he just got quieter and quivered in the corner.
And so even...
And you shouldn't have to protect your man. Like, why do you guys think that? First of all, men don't like it. It's emasculating. They say it all the time. Yet you guys continue to be like, I'm going to protect my man. They don't like it. They don't want you to do it. They think it's cute to hear you say it. But in real life, they don't want you to do that. They want you to stay silent and allow them to do and to be the man and to allow them to, like, you guys just, ooh, it's just, ugh. You see the internalized misogyny just oozing out of them. And again, it's that Christian mindset. That's what gave them this. It's their Christian values, and both of them have deep Christian values. One of the ways that Ashley got caught up with Liler is that he would be praying with her before bed. That was so big for her. So he would pray with her at night. Oh, I need a praying man. He praying and lying to you at the same breath. Okay, praying that you don't discover that he's a deceptive loser.
I'm glad you said that, because even in that statement, they were like, oh, look who's single now. Like you said, some of us haven't been married and it shows, but it's like, go back to that interview when I said that. What I meant by that was, some of y'all haven't been married and it shows because you're expecting me to just up and bounce immediately. But if it was your real marriage, not
Ashley, that's not what it was giving, and that's not what you meant at the time. You're saying that now to save face. I remember when you said that. You said it with your chest, and you were talking down to women, and you put yourself, because you were in the wives club. You were in the wives club. Like, stop it.
non-show related.
Right.
That is not what you would do.
Right.
You would follow that man to court and stand beside him in a nice suit, I hope, and you would stand beside him and support him until it was time for you to walk away.
Right.
That's what you would do. But it's like they don't.
And the time to walk away, Ashley, you didn't. You stayed. And you stayed down. And you stuck with the lies. You started to lie for him. Like, girl.
They don't think that love is real from Love is Blind, but it is. It was for me.
It's real.
You know, it was for me. So it's like when I said some of y'all haven't been married in the shows, it wasn't a dig at single women. I love being single. I want love and I want marriage too, but I'm not an unhappy single person. So that was projection.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like when they said that, I think that it was another thing to tear me down about. It was another thing to just run with. And I swear, whenever I would correct them, they would stick with the narrative that they came up with. And even in some comments, I was like, that's not what I meant by that. If you felt attacked by that, that is a personal problem. Yeah. What I meant by that is, if this man was my boyfriend, see ya.
Right. This is my husband.
Immediately, too.
Right. But that's
I don't care if it's true or not.
I don't care.
That's not drama. It's my door.
You're out. You got, this is my husband. This is my husband. You see, like, I don't like it. I just don't like it. Women like this irritate the shit out of me. And it irritates me even more because they're both two beautiful Black women. And had they had the knowledge and the wisdom to acknowledge what they know to be true from their own dating experiences, and I'm not saying you have to judge every man, but judge cautiously, especially because you're on a show where a lot of people go on because they want fame. And I mean, some of them are okay, especially the men, they're okay with maybe getting married in the end, but a lot of them just want to be on the show. I think a lot of women too, they just want to be on the show. They want the fame.
Doorstep, gotta go. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're a boyfriend. This was someone I made vows with. My faith is important to me. We said this before God. I had to see it through, my guy. I had to see it through.
Have you spoken to him in the past few months at all?
No.
Yeah.
The last time, well, we speak, you know, about court stuff, and not court, my lawyers and him getting paperwork on time. And my lawyers will reach out to me like, he's not responding. I'm like, God, and he knows it costs me money when he doesn't. He still does it. It's so malicious. And so I would reach out to him and be like, you know, every time you don't respond, this is what happens. Please, what can I do? I even told him I would Zelle you to get things notarized and sent out on time. And so we talked a little bit in the beginning when I was still going through the healing process of it all, but I haven't seen him since he came to collect the rest of his stuff in January, the first week of January. Okay. I've never seen him again.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever we get invited to events and stuff, I write
a little bit of tea. He's on Hinge and he's an Uber driver or doing delivery or some shit like that out where he lives. He's back on Hinge and he's doing the damn thing. And here go Ashley.
The people and ask who's attending, because I want to be sure I don't even run into him at all.
Right. Is he still doing like events and stuff?
I guess whatever he can scrapple together.
Do you think he's wanting like fame? Like, what do you think were his intentions for all this?
AD, honestly, girl, if I knew this man's intentions for all of this, it would make me sleep better at night, because I even go back and forth on my head if he ever loved me.
Jesus.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's sad
He didn't.
because it was real for me.
He did not.
And I think that he loved me to some capacity, but I think in the way that he knew how and he doesn't know how. So he just gave me whatever tidbits he could, bare minimum, right? And I think that maybe he wants to know how to love, but he doesn't. And he presented himself as someone who did.
Yeah, we need a motive. Because you did that for
I
what?
have no idea. And he tells me, he's like, you know, he didn't expect to meet me in the process. You know, he jumped at the chance when they, you know, reach out to him, but he didn't expect to get married. He didn't expect to meet. He didn't expect to fall in love with me, allegedly. And I'm just like, I even asked him, like, did you ever love me? But again, it's coming from the mouth of who?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I'll never know. Oh, that's very unsettling, because you will never truly know if he went on there for fame, if he really did meet me by chance. You know, it's funny because before everything went viral, everyone was like, R&B love, Tyler Ashley. Ooh, fine.
She's still delusional. She's still doing it. You see how before everybody's like R&B love, that everyone loved us. Exactly. Until we found out he was a deadbeat dad. And then we found out that you were supporting a deadbeat man. So
finally we got one kind of situation, and y'all felt what I felt through that wall. You know what I mean? Like, we were connecting in a very deep and emotional way. And throughout the year of marriage, I felt loved. Yeah. Obviously, like, again, there were things that I kind of was like, okay, I didn't sign up for this, but like, I felt he was my friend. That's the thing. If we had nothing, we had a really good bond or so, I thought. But then it comes into play because of who he is. Was he playing a character? Was 100%. He not?
He was.
Who is this man?
The fact that we still can't answer these questions today.
On his whole forehead. It's a huge question mark too. I don't know if he knows who he is.
Do you think he would ever do a sit down?
I hope he doesn't.
Yeah, because what?
I mean, by all means, go ahead, but it's nothing you can say besides, yes, I did this to this woman.
So how has the experience changed the way you see love and commitment?
Not at all. It hasn't changed it. You know
My
why?
girl's still hopeful.
Yes, and I've worked on this in therapy a lot, because before I went to the show, I was abstinent for a year. And I was really focusing on myself and what I wanted, which is why this sucks so much, because I was ripe and ready. Right?
Listen, I know how it feels to get ready.
He caught me in a very vulnerable time where I was in my soft girl era, because it's funny, my mom and my friends used to say, I don't give guys wiggle room. Now they the wiggles.
It's
see
strict,
why?
Right. It's
you see why I don't give them wiggle room? That's why I used to be so hard on men. And I tried to be the softer version of myself, but
you should have been, because you know how they are, and you thought, what, Love is Blind was going to protect you from that? That's the thing, I don't understand, like, what made you start moving differently? Like, you tried to present as something else, so you were both presenting someone who wasn't really that person. Like, I don't understand the need. Oh, let me give him a little wiggle room, and especially in the ways in which he betrayed you. Wiggle room, girl. Did not deserve it.
I want to keep her. Just because I gave my love to the wrong person doesn't mean that my love is not top tier. I know the love that I give, and so I don't want to give him that power to change that.
Yeah. So you still feel
I truly love love, you know, and I know that there's someone out there for me because of how I love and love my family and love my friends and love strangers, you know, so I can't. Tyler has taken enough from me. He can't take that
one more time for the people in the bed.
Cannot take that as well.
Do you think there's anything you would have done differently in your relationship or how you handled the breakup?
So during my many spirals, I was just like, I shoulda, I coulda. I had to stop doing that too, because until they come up with a time machine where I can do something about it, you know, if they did, first one on there, no matter the price.
Hello.
You know, take me. But until they can do that, I had to really say, in that moment, I did what my heart told me to do. And I think that it's not productive to think about like what I should have did. What I will say is, what I've learned and what I'll take to, you know, other relationships is be careful with your empathy. Your empathy has to have boundaries. I'm a very empathetic person, and I think that he played on that with all of his sad stories of how he grew up and all these things. And so if I could do any minor thing differently, it would be to protect my empathy, because I have a genuinely pure heart. Like, we all know the good traits about ourselves, and you know, that's one of them. So no, I wouldn't have done anything differently, even though, I mean,
as an empathic healer myself, and I say that because it's in my birth chart, y'all. I'm not just saying I'm an empath. Okay, it's actually literally in my birth chart. It's weaved into who I am. Empath doesn't mean stupid, although I I can say that I've been stupid. But Ashley, like, come on.
If I could, you know.
Yeah. In my opinion, we've heard enough about Tyler.
Yeah.
Let's take an exhale. Proud of you.
Thank you.
What is bringing you joy or helping you heal in this new chapter?
So I think
now I'm actually going to stop it right here, not because like I there's some lessons to be learned, but this is going on almost 2 hours, y'all. I was not supposed to be on. I thought putting on double time. I had a lot more to say as she spoke than I thought I did for this commentary. So I'm going to stop it right here. The link is definitely below for you guys to watch the full thing if you want to catch that ending about the things that she learned. For me, again, I wanted to just show the internalized misogyny from both these women, but I also wanted to talk about the patriarchal women. And I think a lot of Christian women are patriarchal women. And I think that, let me stop sharing this screen. I think that this last video that I'm going to just play, and then I think I'm just going to do a separate video on this because I wanted to discuss it more, which was the Christian mentality aspect, for the aspect on Christian women and their thinking, and how I find it dangerous, and I find it a danger to the cause of women empowerment, despite what sector of it you're in and why. But I'm not going to have time for that. So I am going to play. I'm going to just take a quick break while I pull up this last clip that discusses the patriarchal woman, and I'm just going to end it off there.
Hey, y'all. Do you need a gratitude journal? Well, if you do, me, myself, and I, Dayna Patreace, aka the Black Fairy, have gratitude journals available for sale in the link below. They go for $6.99 USD, and no worries. By clicking the link in the bio, it will send you straight to your country and to your currency. So don't worry about that. But just to give you a rough estimate, it is $6.99. Now, if you didn't know, gratitude is one of the best ways to not only affirm what it is that you want in your life, but to affirm what it is you want to see in your life. With that being said, this is a great tool and opportunity for you to take a part of. It's an inexpensive way for you to tap into the law of attraction. I highly, highly recommend it. And I love y'all. Link in the bio below.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to take us to... So this is a great explanation. I'm going to just end this out here. Let me know if you have anything you want to share or say in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video.
When we talk about what is a patriarchalized woman, she is a woman who only defines herself based on the standards and qualities by which men see women. So she doesn't have a sense of that old ancient truth of what it means to be a woman. She's not connected to or remembering matriarchal consciousness. She defines herself, her standards, her choices, her partnerships, her entire life, even the way she looks and feels about herself, not based on old ancient feminine knowing. She defines herself based on the standards by which men have decided women are worthy, how women should show up in relationships, what men need, what is a pleasing woman. So this is so important to understand. Most women are walking around experiencing being a woman through the lens of patriarchal consciousness, not matriarchal consciousness. When we talk about what is a patriarchalized woman, she is a woman who only defines herself based on the standards and qualities by which men see women. So she doesn't have a sense of that old ancient truth of what it means to be a woman. She's not connected to or remembering matriarchal consciousness. She defines herself, her standards, her choices, her partnerships, her entire life, even the way she looks and feels about herself, not based on old ancient feminine knowing. She defines herself based on the standards by which men have decided women are worthy, how women should show up in relationships, what men need, what is a pleasing woman. So this is so important to understand. Most women are walking around experiencing being a woman through the lens of patriarchal consciousness, not matriarchal consciousness. When we talk about what is a patriarchalized woman, she is a woman who only defines herself based on the standards and qualities by which
Yes. I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.